Welcome to Chef's Table. I'm your host, Briar Wilson, for today's episode of Food for Thought. We're going to be sitting down and chatting with London's Chief of Police, Truong. Welcome to Chef's Table. I'm Briar Wilson. Today we're here for Food for Thought, and I'm with Truong, London's Chief of Police. Thank you for joining me, Ty.
Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling today?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry, so you're ready to eat.
I'm ready to go.
Well, then I guess we're ready to go, and that's great news because I think they're going to bring out the food any second. Do you have any hopes for what they're going to be bringing out?
No, I'm a foodie. I love food, so whatever they bring out, I'm sure it's going to be wonderful.
Oh, and perfect timing. Here it is.
Okay.
Wow, look at that. Very fancy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the chef table. Today's we have chef special. Is it like a turmeric fried with Brussels sprout and served with the coconut and grilled pineapple, as well as it's having a espresso foam with mixture of cilantro and coconut.
It smells wonderful.
Wow, it
Thank
smells
you.
really wonderful.
Oh, this is
Enjoy.
fancy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's quite fancy. Have you had anything ever like this?
No, I'm going to try it right now, though.
Yeah, let's give it a bite. I love Brussels sprouts, I can't lie. I'm a Brussels sprout enthusiast.
I don't think the camera can smell how
Right?
good this smells.
I think that's an important piece.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Tons of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I can really taste that coconut I was talking about.
Did you get the sauce? What the sauce was?
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh, what it was specifically? I didn't hear what he said specifically, but I think you said there's coconut in it.
I heard espresso.
Oh, like coffee?
Coconut espresso? Hang on.
Can you get the hints?
Maybe it's both.
Maybe it's everything.
Very good.
It is very good. So I have to know,
Okay.
you're coming to this interview today, and you're picking out your outfit. How many uniforms do you have, and how do you decide which one you're going to wear today?
Well, lucky for me is I have many different uniforms,
Okay.
but they all look the same.
Oh, do they?
So I'm always usually wearing this.
So it looks the same every day, but there's tons of different shirts you got. Oh, very cool. And you had the hat, which we don't have with us right now, but it's a very cool accessory.
Thank you. It's part of the uniform.
Love it. All right. So again, we're at this lovely restaurant at the Chef's Table, but if you had to pick where we were eating today, what would be your choice of food or restaurant?
Ooh. I like all kinds of food. I'm Vietnamese, so I love Vietnamese food. I love to try the Vietnamese restaurants in London. I've tried a few of them. But I also I don't want to say dives, but I like small restaurants that are like family owned, locally owned. I try to tend to walk into those restaurants and experience that a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I get that. That tends to be the best. I grew up going to little places like that as well. So I definitely understand that. So let's talk about what brought you here to this table today. So do you remember the exact moment you decided you wanted to go into policing?
Yes.
And can you tell me about that moment?
Yeah, like my father has heavy influence on me as a person, me as a man. And when I was a little kid, my father couldn't speak English well. He had interactions with the police, and the one I specifically remember quite vividly is I was a young child. There was a department store called Zeller's. You're probably too young to remember that, but he was driving a van. I was with him, and we went and got some shopping done. And he had, I understand this now, but he had, I guess, nicked a parked car and had impacted the rear view window of another car, the mirror. I didn't even know that had happened. He didn't know that had happened. Anyway, we went home, and actually the next day, my father was sleeping. My father worked around the clock. So his sleep was all over the map, and it was a Saturday. And 2 officers came to our door, and I answered the door, and I was very protective of my father because I know he's working all night, and I didn't want to wake him. But the police officers were there, and they asked to speak to my father. So I woke my dad up, and my dad went and spoke to them, but my dad couldn't speak English. So I was, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years old at the time.
You must have been scared.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I was a little bit scared. Yeah. But they had asked me, my dad's trying to communicate and he couldn't communicate with the officers. And then they had asked me to translate. My father's asking me to translate. And you're an 8-year-old kid. You don't know what's going on. But I learned at that point, it was a fail to remain, like technically a fail to remain, because my father got into a collision and didn't know, and he left. So they had investigated as a fail to remain. My father was very shook by that. And I couldn't explain that to him. I can only explain literally from the police officers to my father. So it was like that little tiny incident. I can tell you when the door shut, my father was shook. Like he was so scared. He didn't know if he was gonna have to go to jail. Like all of it was a whirlwind for him. So my first sort of real interaction with the police was that. And, I had an interaction with a police officer in school at the time. We had a fantastic officer that came and met police, very similar to your school resource program here that we no longer have. But that officer left a really great impression on me. And when my father died when I was 11, at that point, I cemented in my mind, I'm going to be a police officer. Because my father, although he was very nervous and scared around the police, he really respected what the uniform meant. And he respected authority. He respected law and order. So I knew at that point.
If your father could see you today, what do you think he would say to you?
Oh, you're trying to make me cry? To make me cry? Yeah, I think he would be very happy. Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. You have had a very successful career. You're, I believe, the youngest Chief of Police of London ever, which is incredible. Congratulations on that accomplishment. So in the position you're in right now, you're a huge role model for a lot of officers, and maybe even a mentor for some. So obviously your father was a huge mentor for you growing up, but in your early days of being a police officer, can you think of a mentor that you had that left a big role, negative or positive, on you, and kind of share that story and what that did to form your career and who you are today?
Oh yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've had great people along the way who've left, long-lasting impact on me, and I have so many people to be grateful for and thankful for. You wouldn't know half of those people. There's still a leader in policing now that you may know of. Thomas Creek is the commissioner of the OPP, and I worked for him very early on in my career, and he was in charge of organized crime and intelligence services. So I was a young officer really starting that career path of organized crime and covert operations. He was the senior leader at that time. So there was a lot of guidance and mentoring from him, and people like Brian Bigra, Richard Crabtree, some great people that I've worked with and for through the years have provided me a lot of great guidance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you've worked on many different task forces in Special Victims Unit and many other ones. Mm-hmm. Is there any specific one that you took part in that still kind of holds a heavy place in your heart, and you think of the experiences you had in that unit that, again, shape your career and shape who you are today and have brought you to the position you're in?
I would say human trafficking has a special place in my heart. I would also say, the world of covert operations, the world of drugs, guns, gangs, all of it. There's not one real single moment, but I would say moments and experiences in each one. And the theme of all of that involves people and victims or survivors, right? So when they say the drug trade is a victimless crime, well, if you look at it that way, then you're not looking at it the right way in terms of policing, because it is not a victimless crime. There's huge impact that it has on people, has on families, right? All those places I've worked, it involves people. So the theme is, I find purpose and meaning in, trying to do the right thing, and the responsibility that you carry as a police officer, now as a police chief. That's a big responsibility to people and community.
Mm-hmm. And so whenever you were going through school to be a police officer, did you ever have an end goal to get to the position you were in, or was this something that kind of took you by surprise?
Yeah, I'm sure most chiefs think the same way. I've never, ever wanted to be a police chief, ever. Never thought that would happen. All I wanted to be was a cop. And cops will say this, you want to be a cop? And I've said this throughout my career. When I retire, what I want to be known for is a good investigator. That was all I wanted to be known for, is when I leave, hey, Tai Truong was a really good investigator. I never thought I would ever want to be a chief, and also never have the opportunity to be a chief. So it's something that along your leadership journey, that when the time is right and when you're willing and wanting to sacrifice and make change, that comes into your perspective. Because the old school way of leadership, some people think about leadership, the higher up you go, the easier it is, because now you have people to delegate work to, and you don't have to work as hard because you've earned this promotion. Where I see it differently, I see the higher up you go, the greater responsibility that you have to the people that you're responsible for and to the community. So not a lot of people want to be the chief, because it comes with a great responsibility. It comes with a lot of pressure. And you have to have thick skin. You got to be strong and purposeful. And I can tell you the positions I held before that I thought was... Thank you. It's really good. That I thought was stressful. This is a different type of stress and pressure. Very, very different. Yeah.
And so when things get heavier or become stressful, what do you turn to? What helps you?
People that I care about, people that I would say I feel safe to speak to. And people that I feel safe to speak to are, your handful of friends that you trust, your family. I used to run a lot more than I do now. I haven't really ran as much as I should, but running, I never ran for the physical piece. I ran for the mental wellness piece for me. But I try to go to the gym. I love to watch mixed martial arts, and I love to watch mindless TV. That's a way for me to decompress. I'll share this with you, like trash TV, like reality shows that you don't have to think. I love it. I love it.
Do you have a favorite right now?
Oh, geez, what did I finish watching? Love is Blind.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a big Love is Blind fan because it's funny and it's entertaining. So
it's funny.
Yeah, I watch shows like that.
I know you shared too in a previous interview that growing up you enjoyed police shows. Mm-hmm. So do you still watch those now, being in the field?
Not as much.
Oh, well, you look at that.
Here's desserts. It's like ice cream with salted caramel and caramel like crumble caramel on the top of it.
Okay, so I have a question. Yep. Did you make this?
No, this I've made.
So you're just serving?
Yeah, I'm just
What is your name?
Smith.
What is it?
Smith.
Smith?
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. Smith.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Okay.
This will be interesting. Do you like ice cream?
I like all food. Briar, I like all food.
We're learning that today. That's a good thing, though. Oh, wow. That is very flavorful.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Very good.
You're enjoying it too much.
I would buy this.
You would buy this if it came in a container at the store?
Yeah, I'd buy a big tub for sure.
Well, we're going to keep enjoying this lovely ice cream that was just set in front of us, but we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. We've been enjoying this ice cream. Well, I know I have. What about you, Ty?
I have. It's delicious.
It is very delicious. So let's dive right back into where we left off. Now the questions are going to get a little bit more specific, not to scare you or anything.
Okay. Let's go.
Well, actually, I do want to know. I want to talk more about the police shows because I every time I watch them, I think to myself, I'm like, is this actually what it's like? Would you say any? I'm a big fan of SWAT.
Oh, you know what? I don't remember watching SWAT.
Oh no, that's too bad. It's a very good show. It's a very good show. But would you say any of them are realistic at all?
Yeah, there's some good ones out there. Cops is a good reality show one.
Oh, well, there we
go. That's pretty realistic. You got live cameras with police officers, so that's pretty realistic.
Well, there we have it. Yeah. Next time I watch my shows, I'll remember. It is pretty realistic.
If you want to watch a good show, so Cops is like a reality show, but there's a show probably before your time. It's called The Wire. And The Wire is like a series. I think it was on HBO. You want to get into the sort of inner grooves of drug work and the street level drug trafficking and mid-level drug trafficking. It's pretty good. It's pretty realistic.
That's very interesting. I'll definitely have to see if I can find that somewhere if it's not on air anymore. So you shared in an interview earlier this year, we have to make sure this organization is a high-performing police service. We're not there yet, but you're confident that we're going to get there. So this was, I believe, last April. Where are we now? How are you feeling with everything that's happened in the past year, and where are we now?
So we're almost a year and a half in since I've been here. I am extremely proud of the members in our organization. I'm confident that we are going to be leaders in community safety. That is the vision for us. We aren't there now. You cannot be leaders in community safety if you're not fully staffed, fully resourced, and there is an investment in our people. So we're very lucky to have the support of the Police Service Board. We're very lucky to have the support of City Council to support the budget, and we are moving in the right direction. And a year and a half in, if you look at things, Briar, our crime severity index, that's a measure from Statistics Canada, not the only indicator of crime, but it's one indicator that looks at the volume of crime that's occurring in a municipality or an area and the severity of crime. So you get a number, a crime severity index number, and every region, city gets it. And it's one indicator of the amount of crime that's occurring in the city. So with London, for the last 10 years, we have always been above the provincial average. Okay, here's the provincial average. Here's London. Here's the national average. London has always been higher than the provincial and national average. So if you look on it from a singular perspective, we're saying that more crime is occurring in London than the national average or the provincial average, at a very significant difference. If you look at the statistics that were released for 2023, London, we have just dropped below the national average. That has never been seen in 10 years. The data is there. We have never dropped below that. For the first time in 10 years, the crime severity index is decreasing. And I'll tell you, we have the largest decrease in crime severity index in the country. No other city, municipality, region has reduced the crime severity index by 14%. We have. And that is just a shift in the culture and the investing in our people and our police service. And the budget just got approved earlier this year, and we're still going. So our goal is to really take this off. And I truly feel this organization is going to lead in this province. We have great leaders, police leaders across Canada in the province. I am confident, because of the great people that I get to work with every day and the work that they do, we're going to lead. We'll get there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so is there any specific changes that were made in the past year that you think we can attribute to this decrease that we're seeing?
Yeah. So, you know, one of the biggest driving forces, because the multi-year budget is a 4-year plan. In that 4-year plan, it's going to take, I planned out, it'll take 2 years to change the way we provide service to the community. And it's a service delivery model that will take 2 years to implement. We'll have it implemented by next year. So I can't say the change and the reduction in crime is because of that. What I will say to you is when that happens, you are going to see significant decreases in call response times. You're going to see more police officers on the street interacting with the community. The community is going to feel safe and be safer. But I will say this, the crime severity index decreased because mainly the people that are working so hard. We're changing a culture. We are changing the culture that has been embedded in our police service for many, many years. And it may have worked in the past, but our city has grown, the people have grown, everything has grown. The organization did not grow. The organization was stunted with growth, and not only stunted with modernization, the inability to modernize, but the inability to develop leaders. So I can tell you morale today, a lot different than it was a year and a half ago. And because morale has continually increased, you're seeing the impact that our officers have in the community. If we create leaders and we invest in people, we make sure they feel valued at work, we give them the training, the skills, equipment that they need, they're going to be better for this community, and they're going to be more effective in crime prevention and enforcement and building trust within the community. So those are some of the little things, and it's just a different way of thinking on how we police. There are little different things that we've done at the top that have a big trickle-down effect to the organization.
Yeah, and so speaking about when you first go away to school and that's where you get your foundation, your base in policing, do you think there's anything that programs across the country or even just the province could be doing that are going to help us produce better officers in the field?
Yeah,
that they aren't already.
I think education and training is very important. You got to spend money and invest in the training for our officers, not only our sworn members, but our civilian police professionals. Everybody in the organization, as long as they feel valued and as long as there's a plan for them, because right now you have positions and you have individuals in our organization that they come into the organization and they're stuck. There's no progressive leadership plan for them. If you come into an organization thinking like there's nowhere else for you to go or growth, that doesn't bode well for you as an individual. And me as a leader, if I can't make pathways and channels for people to really progress in their leadership and their opportunities to lead and develop and grow, then I'm not doing my job. And that's what we're doing. We're looking internally at a leadership development program. So as soon as you get hired, whether you're a sworn member or a civilian police professional, what does the roadmap look for you? Because you need to guide that. But if there's no road for you, how can you guide that? These are the things that we're doing, and it's going to take time, but we're moving really well with that. And our members are seeing it. Our members are seeing opportunities. Our members are seeing a different way of policing and culture change. And I know we're on the right track because the data tells us. And the last reported statistics that I had reported to City Council, I came a year and a half ago and shootings was at an all-time high. Multi-year shootings. The numbers are not accurate today, but I'll tell you, when I went to City Council a little while ago, we reduced shootings by 85%. Mm-hmm. That is incredible. That's not because of me. That's because of the people that make up the London Police Service, and that's community too.
And you're seeing a new program now that you guys, it's a civilian-based program with 19 new special constables that you brought in. And this is a volunteer-based program, and what are you hoping to see with this new initiative?
So this special constable program is not volunteer-based.
Oh, it's not?
They're
Okay.
paid. It's a paid position, and what we've looked at, we're at a stage, you have to look at policing differently than we did 30, 40 years ago, right? You have to look at it differently. When you hire a police officer, it takes 8 to 10 months from the moment you hire them to get them trained and on the street, right? There's significant amounts of training and investment you have to give that officer. And even when that officer is on the street at that time, they're still a brand new officer. It takes years to get to where they need to be fully confident in their job. A special constable does not take, it's reduced that time by, I would say, 8 to 10 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we can get special constables through the door quicker. But the other part is our job has come into the jack of all trades. We're getting called for everything. When we need to be there for the urgent, critical, emergency calls, we need to protect the citizens when they need us. We need to be there to help. And it's turned into many things. So the job itself, there's a lot of things that police officers don't need to do. The more you have police officers do, the less you have them responding to those critical times when you call 911 and you need help. So the special constables was a way for us to think differently, bring in special constables that have training, but not the amount of training as a full-fledged officer has. And we can offload those duties and those tasks that don't require a fully armed and trained police officer. That's one way. But the other purpose for that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The other purpose for that as well is when you have people applying to be police officers, and sometimes they're just not ready for us to hire them.
And dive right in, yeah.
You have an opportunity to steer them in, to give them a little bit more experience as a special constable, get that experience, and when that opportunity presents itself, we're able to hire from the special constable program. So it's a really great program. I believe in it. It's giving people opportunities. The community loves it. Our members love it. The special constables feel completely valued, and they're enjoying. It's meaningful work.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Thank you so much for all your wonderful answers. I had a wonderful time sitting down with you and enjoying some food and some conversation, and it was lovely to have you. So thank you for joining me, Ty. This has been Food for Thought at Chef's Table.
Thank you, Briar.